to Ron Siegel Radio on ESPN Radio 1700. Now, live in studio, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. Just checking, Steve, are you hearing me yet? I don't know what is going on with our... good, there we go. Well, we'll continue on. I don't know what you heard, what you didn't hear, but we'll figure that out as time goes on. Well, let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, maybe I can answer the phone sometimes better than I can get the microphones working at our remote studio. Thank goodness we've got Steve there engineering at our flagship AM 1700. So we'll continue. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Yes, of course, we are celebrating today. It is National Pastry Day. I love getting a little bit of pastries going on. Always something good to eat, in my opinion. Got to do quality control on those things. They're always good to keep in front of and to check them out. Watching the news today, there's so much going on in the news, especially since I was out a bit yesterday, seeing what's going on in the marketplace, making some good introductions with quite a few realtors out there. Interesting. A lot of folks out there looking at it and saying, what's going to happen in the marketplace? That's the issue that we're seeing right now in a lot of different areas. What's happening in the real estate marketplace? Where are we going? And what do we have to continue doing? I'm going to share a lot of information about that with you today, is where we are, what we're doing, what the marketplace has to say. You may want to get a little bit of input from Robert Mott's going to check in with us. He might have some interesting we might want to have a drink of wine before we get into some of that content this morning, just to have some ideas there. Sometimes the wine will help with some of the financial issues, just to settle us down a little bit. Not that I profess any idea of drinking excessively or anything along those lines. But you know something? Some people, I'm hearing right now, there's a lot of people, a lot of fear, a lot of worry. I hear a lot about financial issues all the time. You know, we do talk about finance on the radio program. But what about the answers? What about the strategies? How do we deal with that? Well, that's what we're going to really check into significantly, is how do we deal with, what are the strategies? How do we, maybe before the Federal Reserve puts their 2 cents in to what's going on, how do we deal with that? What are the options there? We're looking at this next year is going to be the year of the boomerang. And the boomerang is those people that had really significant financial challenges in 2007, 2008. They're now qualified to get back into the market. I want to chat with you a little bit about that, so we can figure out how you can benefit from it, how you can make some money from it, where that affects you, where it does not affect you. Also going to chat with you today, household debt. It's a big issue, and one of the issues that I want to understand with household debt with you is, where do most Americans sit right now? We're looking at credit card debt. The average household has over $15,000 in credit card debt. The average household, again, this may not fit that number exactly for Southern California, $165,000 in mortgage debt, $26,000 in auto loans, $47,000 in student loan debt. 47,000. These are just averages across America. Are there some strategies we can use to deal with that? And I'm going to suggest the answer to you is yes. The problem is nobody's chatting about these strategies. Nobody's talking about how do you deal with them and what are some tools that you might be able to use. Because we've also talked about the idea that over nearly 70% of Americans have equity in their home. 32% don't believe how much equity they have. They don't know how much equity they have. They're just looking at it and saying, yeah, I got equity. What can I do? Or maybe I don't even have any equity, or they don't think they have equity, and they don't know what to do there either. The issue becomes financial planning. And I talked to you about this from a financial planning standpoint. Why? Well, back in the 90s, the early 2000s, I used to be on that side of the ledger. I used to be licensed with Merrill Lynch. And we used to do all kinds of financial planning, but the only thing they ever talk about is financial planning from the homeowner's standpoint. They don't really look at financial planning, or they look at it from the asset standpoint. They look at, how do we get you to be debt-free? How do we get you to be retirement plan, or to plan to have kids, or not plan to have kids, but afford kids. Those are all issues that they'll talk about from their standpoint. But here's the issue that I learned over there as well. You can do a lot of financial planning from the debt side of your balance sheet. I'm looking at financial planning and saying, you know something? There's not a lot of people out there that are in a way getting the benefits of home ownership, one of the benefits of home ownership. And I don't profess the idea that you should use your home as an ATM, but I also look at this and say to you, quite honestly, it is an asset. Now, you can pull money out of a 401k to pay off those debts that we were talking about just a minute ago, but is there a better way of paying off those debts? You've got a qualified plan that's earning you money. You've got huge amounts of liability when you take money out of a qualified plan. Is that in your best interest? I'm going to suggest maybe there's another option. And yes, I understand and you understand that I lead a lending team, but we work from a financial plan. One of the first questions I always want to know when somebody calls our team is, what is your time horizon? When do you want to retire? Is this going to be a forever home, a move-up home? Is this home going to be a rental in the future? All of those things are questions that you're not going to find on the online service. But how can't you know those answers if it's something that you're looking to do, if you're looking to make a plan? When you're dealing with a home, and we're going to use today a home that's maybe a $600,000 home. Maybe it's a $700,000. It'll fit for the strategy fits anywhere you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing, what your scenario is, what your lifestyle is. The strategy is going to work the same way. What I want you to deal with and understand is, how is it going to benefit you? How is it going to get you to financial freedom? How is it going to cut down maybe your monthly expenses? And we're going to talk about a method that's going to cut down your monthly expenses by maybe 25 or 30%. What do you do with that money when you save that much money every single month? How do you deal with that? What do you do with it? Is it time for a vacation? Or where do you go? Those are all the issues that we're going to chat with today. We're going to talk after the break. We'll continue this conversation a little bit. But after the break, Robert Mott's going to check in with us. We're going to get a glass of wine, and then we're going to get to work for you, figuring out what is in your best interest, how to deal with this financial situation. Use the last month of the year. I know everybody else is out partying. I want to give you a gift. That gift is the pathway to financial success, because you are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. The off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, and on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564. Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments?
Ron Siegel Radio Date Night Trivia, presented by Reunion Kitchen and Drink. Friday, Ron will pose a question based on-air conversations during the prior 7 programs. The person to post the answer according to the guest conversation will win a date night package, including a dinner gift card for Reunion Kitchen and Drink. You might even be able to say hi to Ron when you visit Reunion Kitchen and Drink.
It's not every day your home gets flooded, but when it happens, you've got the good people at Apris on your side. With over 25 years of construction and insurance experience, they can turn any disaster around, making your home good as new. For 24/7 support, call 844-GO-APRIS or find us on the web at www.apris.me. Day, night, rain, or shine, when it happens to you, you know what to do. Go Apris. Remember, call 844-GO-APRIS. That's 844-462-7747.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel Radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives for the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate,
in the middle of our street.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Word on Wealth segment today brought to you by the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Yes, that is your household board of directors. Set them up for free today. Text ATP to 79564. How about 5 ways to save money at Christmas time? That might be a good idea to chat about right now. Let's think about 5 of them. Number 1, easier said than done. Set up that budget. Don't overspend on gifts. Who are you buying for? Especially within, I just heard this one recently. Spouses, talk to each other about what you plan on spending for each other. That way you're not trying to overdo it, outdo each other. Might make your budgeting and your life a little happier. Keep decorations simple is number 2. Got a big benefit right now. Save on travel is one of the items on the list, and obviously you're going to be careful when traveling, but national gas prices now down at $2.01, almost $2.02 a gallon. Nationally, California, $2.67.5 is our average pricing for the state. Keep Christmas dinner modest. There's a lot of ways of saving money there, and the biggie, avoid impulse buying. You don't want to be getting into the impulse buying. That's what these stores want from you. It's not good for you, not good for your budget. That is our Word on Wealth segment, again brought to you by the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Wine means it is time for our Wednesday chat with Robert Mott, our international wine guru. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning, Ron. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. I saw some great and scary notes on here. The first one was really got to me in our notes for this week. Nutrition labels on wine bottles. What's that all about?
Oh, I know. It's one of those things that it's been lurking in the sidelines for a while. If you go to the grocery store, just about everything you pick up has some kind of nutritional label on it. The calories or the carbohydrates, the sodium or what have you. And thus far, there's been no legal reason at this point for the wine industry or even the liquor industry to actually include such a label on their products. So anyway, they've been holding out, and for pretty good reason. Now, obviously, you see things on wine labels that contain sulfites or don't operate heavy machinery or something like that, but nothing that's really hard information about the contents. Well, as it turns out, Treasury Wine Estates, which is one of the big conglomerate winery holding companies, announced it will voluntarily begin including calorie information on all its bottled wine products to help consumers make more informed choices about what they're drinking. Now, it's an Australian-based winemaking operation. It owns U.S. brands like BV or Beaulieu, Sterling, Stag's Leap, and some other international brands like Penfolds. So they're a pretty heavyweight company in the wine business. So it's a first. It's something that the industry in general has tried to resist because of the different things that go into winemaking. I think a lot of people don't want to, expose the sausage making, so to speak, to the general public. And this kind of is the first step that way. Likewise, actually starting in March, the liquor giant Diageo, and they're famous for many of the vodkas you see on the shelf, became the first spirits producer that said they put nutritional panels on its products, which they had make some beer, wines, but mostly spirits. So apparently the first one out of the gate for spirits actually was the famous brand Crown Royal. In October, it became the first Diageo brand to include a nutritional label, which has information on calories, carbs, fat per serving, and all that kind of good stuff that you usually see on most consumable products. So it's becoming a brave new world out there, and some people would say it's a good thing, and a lot of people would say, well, hey, it's wine, it's liquor. I know it is what it is, and maybe I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah. So sometimes they get carried away, I think, a little bit on certain items that, it's like putting a nutritional label on a package of ding-dongs or something like that. We know we're buying it, or Oreos. We're buying it not because of the nutritional value, it's because it's something we want. Unbelievable. Now,
exactly. But this is all voluntary. The government didn't force them to do this. However, there have been a lot of discussions, obviously, among the regulatory agencies about whether to require this or not. But certainly, so far, just voluntary.
I'm wondering on red wine, will they put the logo or the insignia of the Heart Association, being that we've been told that red wine is good for us?
Well, that's a good question. That's probably up to the industry and the Heart Association whether they're willing to go out on that limb, so to speak. I know there's a lot of data that says that is good for you, but not sure that those associations like that would be front and center as far as lending their logos and their approval to consumption of alcoholic beverages. But you don't know; it might happen.
Well, we'll just have to keep out on our process of sharing that information. That, in our opinion, with no medical science, I'm not a doctor for sure, so I'm not going to give medical advice. But a glass of red wine or two every night certainly enhances the life experience.
Absolutely, and there is, as you mentioned earlier, there is a fair amount of data that says that's probably a pretty good thing for your heart and cardiovascular system, as long as you don't overdo it.
Speaking of not overdoing it, so that would bring us a very good segue into our next topic. We have, with all the holidays and events and parties going on right now, you never know how much wine, how much champagne to get ready. And you chill the champagne and you get it to you'll tell us what the proper temperatures are, but we don't use all of it. What do we do? Do we put it back in the wine refrigerator? Can it go backward and forward like that, or am I causing a problem?
Actually, you're pretty safe, as it turns out. Generally you want your sparkling wines and champagnes, chilled very cold, somewhere between 38 and 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Certainly, probably on the cooler side of that, if possible. Almost ice cold is really where it presents itself, almost universally best. But if you've had it in your refrigerator and you have it nice and cool like that, it's not like the old thing when you and I were growing up, Ron, when you heard about chilling your beer and then putting it, warming it up, chilling your beer, warming it up, that did make the thing go bad. Certainly, with sparkling wines, if you take it out of the fridge, put it back in the cellar, even if you have to do it a couple of times, it's okay. Ideally, of course, wines are kept at a very constant cool temperature for storage. But it's not like some mild temperature variation, like the difference between cellar temperature and serving temperature for a sparkling wine. That will not spoil the wine. I think just avoid those extreme temperature changes that would compromise the cork or prematurely age the wine. So, don't sit it outside in your trunk on an 80-degree day and then, expect it to be fine after you've refrigerated it, or take it back and forth a couple of times in that kind of condition. But certainly, from your refrigerator back to your wine cellar and vice versa a couple of times, I would say it's that category of no harm, no foul.
And with this temperature that we've been having in Southern California lately, holy cow, one day it could be 80 and the next day, it's 50 or 60, so who knows what it's going to be. But I digress there. So I hear something about 5 S's of wine tasting. That sounds kind of interesting to me as well. What's that all about?
Well, it's one of those things. As you and I've talked many times. When we first started chatting about wine, there are 2 kinds of wine that you consume. They're the ones you liked and the ones you didn't like.
Yeah, that was my total knowledge.
Exactly. But but many people get more. And as you have as well, as we've chatted over the years. Many people get more involved in the wine tasting process and try to understand what their senses are telling them. And the 5 S's really refer to your senses, essentially. And obviously, it's there are multiple ways to look at this. But the general, it's usually variations on a theme. But the 5 S's are see, swirl, smell, sip, and savor, or some people do variants of that. Instead of smell, they say sniff. Instead of savor, they say summarize.
I don't know about my sense of swirl, though. I've got a sense of sight and hearing and all that, but I don't know about my sense of swirl.
Well, the swirl kind of gives you an idea about the viscosity of the wine. You're looking. Some people might look at the legs or the tears on the side of the wine glass. It's part of the seed process, but it also is kind of a textural thing, kind of a feeling thing. If you kind of swirl it and see the weight of it as well. You get a lot of that indication on the palate as well. But I think that the main thing is, though, engage all your senses and engage. You were given a lot of senses. We have the ability to hear things and see things and touch things and get those sensory inputs that are well beyond what we usually exercise every day. But in the case of wine, try to exercise those senses. I think, as we talk to this, people are probably out there, some of them are probably rolling their eyes and saying, don't make it too complicated, right? Just drink it, enjoy it. And I say, I'm all with that. Believe me, I drink and enjoy wine too, but there's something about wine, there's some complexity about wine. If you really engage all your senses and slow down, take a moment to, really understand what you're tasting and why you like it or why you don't like it, you're more likely to remember what that wine is that you're drinking, and you're more likely to be able to describe to somebody else what it is you like about a particular wine. And if you're doing that in a restaurant or a sommelier with a sommelier, is a very good high likelihood that you'll be introduced to a new wine that you'll love just as much. And so that's why I'd say enjoy and engage those senses and be able to try to articulate what you're experiencing.
Sounds like some great information, and I like, something, Robert, that's really helpful, because I am one of those that says I like it or I don't like it, but then that kind of cheats me I cheat myself, I should say, when I go to the next restaurant and I'm trying to find something and ask for a suggestion, and I'm not intelligent enough to ask them or tell them what I really like or don't like because I didn't take that time. So great information there as always. Thank you, Robert Mott, for sharing with us. You are listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, it's the financial plan you've been waiting for. We're going to chat about it. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel lending team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel lending team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel lending team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Southern California attorneys have over 15,000 real estate agents to call in Orange County for their personal and professional needs. Why do they overwhelmingly call Melinda Johnson? Simple. It's the Melinda Johnson trifecta. Melinda is an attorney, real estate broker, and realtor. Does your family deserve the same professional services California lawyers demand? Call Melinda Johnson at 714-863-5485. That's 714-863-5485. Or on the web at freedomfirstproperties.com. Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, smarts and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel lending team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037 and DRE number 018694552.
37% of American homeowners believe they have over 20% equity in their homes. Fannie Mae tells us 69% of American homeowners have over 20% equity in their homes. Fully 1 in 3 American homeowners are not informed about the amount of equity they have in their homes. Are you one of them? How might this be holding you back from achieving your goals? Text RSR CMA to 79564 to get a property valuation from one of the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Again, to know how much your home is really worth, simply text RSR CMA to 79564.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. So if you want to know the true value of your home, there is nothing online that will get that to you. My opinion, nothing online that'll get it to you. What you need to do is text PEAR, Professional Equity Analysis Review, PEAR, to 79564. Have a conversation with a real estate professional in your neighborhood. Again, the online reports, the Zillows, the Trulias, all those things are going to give you hypotheticals. They're not going to give you accuracy. When you're dealing with your home, accuracy is really what you need to be looking at. It's just amazing to me how many people think that they can shortcut this, and it doesn't cost anything to get a 10-minute review with an agent and then get them to put together a report for you that's going to have the legitimate information that you need to know. Speaking of legitimate information that you need to know, let's talk about home prices. Because, again, it's a very important issue. CoreLogic, and it's not Ron Siegel Radio, it's not Ron Siegel giving you this information. I present the information. CoreLogic, one of the biggest providers of data in the housing industry, the most reputable provider of data in the housing industry. They're going to talk about home appreciation over the last 12 months. On a national level, doesn't matter to me, doesn't matter to you, because it's your home that matters. California, home appreciation last 12 months, 7.2% in the state of California. According to CoreLogic, 7.2 the last 12 months. Last month, 0.3% appreciation in the state of California. The future, what is forecasted, again by CoreLogic, 5.2% for the country, but 10.8% in the state of California. That's huge, 10.8%. So yes, the numbers are changing across the country. They appreciate at different levels everywhere. If you're planning on relocating to another state, waiting for your home to appreciate more, you need to know that the home you will buy in another state may be appreciating even faster. That's why I tell you, do not go by the information that's on the internet. Text PEAR to 79564. If you're thinking about selling your home, we just came out with two new guides that you can have for free. And again, the text number that you're going to go to is 79564 for each of them. If you're considering selling your home, well, the obvious thing would be things to consider when selling your home. Text HSG to 79564. If you are thinking about buying a home, things to consider when buying a home. Text HBG to 79564. Everything there is complimentary of Ron Siegel Radio. We give it to you. We put together a 20 or 25 page book for you, a booklet, every quarter talking about just these things so we can educate you on what you need to know so you can act properly, appropriately. Go and talk to the professionals and whoever it is. Again, if you're within the sound of my voice, I can introduce you to somebody everywhere. Unbelievable. Very, very simple. Now, let's go back to what we started the broadcast out with this morning. We know that as of the last time I looked, the federal funds futures, that's one of those stock market things that tells us what the market thinks is going to happen coming down the road in the future. They're predicting with 80% certainty that the Federal Reserve is going to increase interest rates at their meeting when they report on the 16th of December. 80% likelihood of an increase in interest rates at that meeting. How do you deal with it? What do you need to know? The markets are so certain. I mean, you look at the Dow Jones, it's down another 100 points today, 17,004 and change while I'm speaking to you right now. Think about that. Some of these things have to do with the environment, the geopolitical environment we're in as well. But they're also precursors of what's happening in the marketplace. We're looking and seeing oil down another 28 cents today, $37 and change. Very, very low numbers. That's a very early indicator of what the economy is doing. There's a lot of jobs in the sector, so it's a very early indicator. Hit touchdown at 37.07 earlier in the day. What do you do? So let's look and see. We talked about earlier that we know, on average, we know the average statistics, with the American family's got $129,000 in various sorts of debt. I did some analysis. We had our team put together some numbers. What if you have a current home loan of, let's just say that you've got a home loan of $400,000. You've got a $75,000 home equity line of credit. You bought that. You used that strategically. You didn't want to pay mortgage insurance, so you used that on the purchase of your home. We also know that properties are appreciating. I just told you what the appreciation numbers are for the last year. If you look at those appreciation numbers from the last year, what does that tell you just by itself? When we look and see that CoreLogic tells us that in California, our property values appreciated last year to the tune of 7.2%. Think about this. If you bought a house with 3.5% down on an FHA loan and that you got 7.2% appreciation, just restructuring that loan right now on its own, you're going to probably save several $100s a month by getting rid of the mortgage insurance, or at least cutting that mortgage insurance in half. It can be done. It's not that difficult. Call 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with the team, and they'll help you with that. But let's look at it one step further. Maybe you put down a little bit more money. I just saw an appraisal come in. A property appreciated 20% in Irvine, California, because they put some extra work into the property. It was an old property. It got hit on the evaluations because of being old and outdated quality and materials and look. People came in, they bought it at a very attractive price. They had a great real estate agent. Again, I'll hook you up with them. Put money into it. Property's worth a lot more money. They can get rid of their mortgage insurance completely. What if they wanted to take a little money out of that property? What if they wanted to get rid of that home equity line of credit that they used so they don't have to pay that mortgage insurance anymore? They don't have to pay that on the home equity line of credit. You don't have the mortgage insurance. But in most cases, those are variable rate loans. They don't want to worry about the Fed increasing interest rates. So we looked at this. And we said, okay, what happened? All the what ifs that we talk about. What if they got a 4% loan? What if that home equity line of credit is at 5.24%? What if they have a couple of car loans and they meet that $26,350 average? which gets them and say it's a 5.95 interest rate and a 4.95 interest rate. We're blending all of these things if you understand what I'm talking about. They've got 3 credit cards, each at around a little over $5,000 each, 9.95%, 14.95%, and 19.99%. Nothing outrageous. And they've got the $47,000 in student loans that we said is on average. You look at all those numbers, it comes up to about $90,000. Using a 4% on the first, their blended interest rate on all of that is 4.79%. They're paying $3,900 a month for all of that. What if they restructure all of that into a new loan at $575,000 for the new loan at 4.25%? I don't know if you qualify for that. What's that going to do, and what are your options, and how do we make that into a financial plan? That's what we're going to talk about when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. What do you need to qualify for a mortgage? That's all part of this, so we'll talk about that as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Connect with me at facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter at Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, RonSiegelRadio.com. The archives have the programs as well as our YouTube channel, Ron Siegel 1. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area-trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you have a loved one who wants to stay in their home, but you have health concerns about it? The Preferred Care team understands the challenges of caring for your loved ones. Their goal is to keep seniors as independent as possible while maintaining their health, safety, and overall well-being. Whether you need just a few hours a week or 24-hour care, Preferred Care caregivers are trained to meet your needs. Call Preferred Care at 714-696-9150. That's 714-696-9150. Or visit preferredcare.com.
In these uncertain times, it's getting harder and harder to find a safe and effective method of investing. If you're looking at retirement options that can provide some real security for you and your family, look no further than a reverse mortgage with Siegel Lending Team. Hundreds of thousands of other Americans are already taking advantage of reverse mortgages. It allows you to eliminate monthly mortgage payments, pay some bills, or simply enjoy your retirement more. A government-insured reverse mortgage with Siegel Lending Team allows seniors to stay in their home and turn their equity into tax-free cash. To qualify, there are no credit score requirements, and remember, you continue to retain complete ownership of your home. Call 1-800-306-1990 to receive a new special edition handbook, Feature Reverse Mortgage Borrowers, plus an educational brochure absolutely free. Find out more. Call Siegel Lending Team today, 1-800-306-1990. SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL lendingteam.com or 1-800-306-1990.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
This year, take the worry out of holiday shipping by visiting the packing and shipping experts at the UPS Store. For an independently owned and operated location near you, visit theupsstore.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That's my message, and as your consumer advocate, I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. Credit Sanitizer has the solutions for you. You just need to visit them. CreditSanitizer.com. Simple solutions. They've got a lot of them on there as well. They've got a plan. I think it's the middle one on their website. It's like $80 or $90 a month. They work on your credit report. They give you a LifeLock. They give you a schedule on items to pay quickest to work down your debt. Medical insurance or a medicine shopping service. A lot of good things. Interesting stuff. Great information for you. Again, that's at creditsanitizer.com. We've been chatting this morning. The concept here is planning, financial planning, but using the debt side of your balance sheet. And how do you do that in an intelligent way? So what I want you to understand is qualifying for a mortgage. What do you really need? Well, you need equity. We're talking this morning about planning. If you're looking at a down payment, if you're buying a piece of property, there are so many people that have a misconception of what you need as a down payment. The reality of the numbers are so far off. 36% of people buying new homes are putting down 5% or less. 43.8% are putting down less than 10%. And 64.2% are putting down less than 20%. Now, when we look at doing the cash out strategy that I'm sharing with you today, you really want to be looking at having 25% equity in your property. You don't have to. There are solutions where you don't have that. But 25% is a good rule of thumb. The Ipsos survey gives us an indication of FICO scores and what the people are thinking they need. So they reported that 2/3 of the respondents believe they need a very good score to buy a home. 45% think a good score is over 780. They watch these dumb commercials on television that really mislead you. Average FICO scores on approved loans. On FHA loans, the average is 687. 687. If you put all loans together, the average is 722. Think about that. Long share off from 780, right? Conventional loans even don't go to, on average, are not even being approved, are not even needing a 780. They're at 754. There are programs going all the way down into the 500s. There are programs for you. And again, it's all part of the strategy because sometimes we will share with folks, let's get you going. Let's do what I'm sharing with you right now with the idea that we're going to be looking at restructuring your loan, and again, in another year or so, maybe 6 months. Why? Well, we're paying off all this debt. That's going to help your FICO scores. We want that to season through your credit reports. We also are going to use some different strategies to cut down on your expenses. So with all of that being said, now what we want to do is strategize. We're going to get rid of all this debt. So in the scenario that I laid out for you before, earlier in the last segment, again, if you didn't get it, I don't want to go through it all right now. You can go and get it, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. It'll be there later today, or ronsiegelradio.com in the archives. But with that segment, what we did is we talked about having total household debt of $564,000. That was the total household debt, $564,512. Now, when we look at that total household debt, we also looked at it and said, okay, our home loan, our first mortgage is at 4%, which at that time it may have been a great number. I don't know what your scenario is. Could have been great. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But it doesn't matter because that's not where you are today. Yes, you're still paying 4%, but that's not your blended rate. When I put all your interest rates together with a weighted average, we have to weight them, you're coming out at 4.79%. And again, not counting taxes and insurance on that initial loan that you had, all of your payments are coming out to $3,908. And what I did there is I did not use the minimum payment on your credit cards, because that means you're looking at like 30 or 40 years, maybe even more, to pay those off. I used a 10-year repayment period on those. 10 years for the repayment on those. Okay, so now when we look at that, we're starting to say, okay, now what are we going to do here? How are we going to deal with some of these different numbers? All of with a new loan, if say with all these things, and I don't know what your scores are, but I do know one thing for sure. I do know that if you've got a lot of credit card debt, you've got a lot of student loan debt, you've got the cars, if you're maxing out on your credit cards, your FICO score is not going to be great. But let's look at this. Get you a new loan at, say, 4.25. I don't know if you'll qualify for 4.25. I'm doing this for educational purposes. That's going to bring your payment to $2,828. Call it $2,830. Okay, $2,830 a month. If we restructure all of that debt into a new loan, you're going to save over $1,300 a month. Over $1,300 a month you're saving by doing this. What do you do with that money? Because here's the big issue that a lot of folks will say to me, yeah, Ron, I understand all that, but I'm taking my car loan that had a 4-year term on it, and I'm taking those 10-year repayment periods on the credit cards and making those into 30-year repayments. And I get it. The issue is, though, we're going to take that $1,300 that we're saving every single month, and we're going to put half of it towards your debt. Just half. And make that as an additional principal balance on the payments. What do you think is going to happen now? When you start making an additional principal balance of $650 a month, you're already paying $4,100. I made a mistake earlier. It's $4,100 a month. You're already paying $4,100 a month. I'm going to take you down to $2,800 a month, $2,830 a month. You're going to save $1,300 a month. You're going to put the extra $650 in your pocket to enjoy life. And you're going to put $650 toward those old principal balances on your new loan, because everything else is going to be paid off. Now, do not close any of your credit card debt. Don't close any of it. Why? Because it's all about the strategy. It's all about the financial plan on your debt. The reason I don't want you to close those is I want those to continue aging, because you had approximately $5,100, $5,200 balance on every one of those 3 credit cards. That means that you should have had a limit in excess of that. If you go out to dinner, if you buy a cup of coffee, if you buy a tank of gas with each one of those cards every month and pay it off in full every month, guess what? They stay active. They continue to age. Those 2 items account for 65% of your credit score. Here's where this gets real exciting. Here's where it gets fun. We look and we say, okay, now every 6 months, a debt planner, somebody that's dealing in the planning side of your business, every single month, every 6 months, we're going to send you an update. What's your property worth and what is the interest rate in the marketplace? Because we know life happens. If you're following the strategy, we're going to want to talk about what is your current mortgage balance. Because did you pay that extra $650 every month? We can't see that. We don't know that information. Only you know that. Where's the balance at now? Can we get you a better loan? Now, I'm going to tell you right now that I know of a loan out there. It's a home ownership, a buying loan, where you may be looking at a 2.95% start rate, 5.16 APR on a 30-year fixed rate loan. The first year is a little bit lower than the other years. It's lower by 1%. But think about that. If these are all options out there, if you're not in the mortgage industry, if you're not doing a radio show every day, you don't know about these options. Who's telling you about them? You're not going to find them on some website, because does it benefit the banks to take you from a 19.99% interest rate to a 4.25% interest rate? No. Does it pay the government, where they're getting 7% on your student loans or thereabouts, for you to restructure that and get a lower rate? No. Does it pay the car companies to cut out their profits? It doesn't pay any of these people. I'm sharing with you financial planning, and it's a lifetime relationship, and it starts by setting the first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. It starts with making a phone call to us at 800-306-1990 to get the ball rolling, and thanks to all of our sponsors. A very big thanks to Steve, who's engineering us today, because that's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember my mantra: make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
XAKA 1700 AM, Kita Bata Lipunan.
You're listening to ESPN Radio 1700.